Hello, I'm Nicholas Palacios, and today I'll be doing my persuasive speech with my listener here, Joseph. 37.2 million. This is the number of Americans in 2020 who face poverty, given by Emily Schreider and Francis Chen and other researchers in the U.S. Census Bureau. I'm here to argue on why dealing with poverty as a black or Hispanic individual is far more difficult than as a white individual in poverty in the United States. I will be discussing the probability of being in poverty, the experiences and disadvantages some people might face, as well as what you can do and what I could influence you to make a change into today. A Hispanic or black individual are more likely to be in poverty than that of a white person. If we took a look at the numbers, we can see that white people in poverty are much higher in population than those of the black or Hispanic community. For example, according to the Census Bureau, 42.8% of the people in poverty are white, compared that to the 22.7% or the 27.9% of the black and Hispanic population. With such high numbers, you may be wondering, why are we not defending the white community with such high numbers of filling in the poverty? But the truth is, we're not looking at the correct numbers here. For example, the poverty rate shows that non-Hispanic white Americans only have 8.3% of their total population in poverty. Meanwhile, there are 19.5% and 17% of population for the black and Hispanic community that fill up who are in poverty. You may be asking, what do these percentages mean? It essentially means for every 12 white Americans, only one of them is in poverty. Meanwhile, for the Hispanic community, 6 out of 1 person is in poverty. And for every 5 individuals, there is 1 person in poverty in the black community. While these numbers are rounded, they do not hide the truth from being told. But even with these numbers, poverty still continues to go on and hurt us more. The perspective someone may have may be vastly different from another person in poverty. Simply take the relationship between individuals in the medical field, for example. According to Maya Sablato and Mary Jackson Scordings and Greta Gatto and other researchers of the academic journal, of the American Journal of Bioethics, in this structural racism of the height of COVID-19, it will say that blacks and Latinos were far more likely to get sick and die from COVID-19 than white individuals, as well as infection rates rising in poor neighborhoods. Compare that to the wealthiest communities around them. There are many issues in these poor colored communities, of that being the absence of insurance or fewer opportunities they may have. But if a person in this community found themselves sick, they would either have to choose to pay for the medication to help them survive, or pay to feed their kids and keep their lights on. This is one decision that should not have to be made. And even though these radical disparities are not new, they need to be changed soon. These disparities go on, though. For example, Jason Newman, director and filmmaker of PBS Frontline, made a documentary on impoverished families and followed the story of Sean, a biracial 13-year-old with his mother, an 18-year-old, Crystal, who lived in poverty throughout the pandemic. Crystal came from a white family, but she had moved to a predominantly black neighborhood with her son. She said she was scared due to her lack of experience with their culture and the thoughts her father had put in her head. The good news for her was that she later got past her mindset, knowing that her father had taught her to be ignorant and that no one should be judged for their ethnical background. Just to be clear, there are many issues that people in poverty face, but I say that those of the black and Hispanic community face far more issues. Minorities do not only deal with racial disparities, but also deal with the absence of resources, as well as being prejudiced against. Although there are drastically different perspectives, they can be changed. With many issues being faced by adults and children alike, I ask you to see things more clearly. The saddest part of all this is that these children in poverty also are victims of consequences of racial bias as well. According to Dr. Gerald P. Mellon, an American writer and social worker, came up with the idea that the U.S. foster care system was being flooded with black and brown children due to negligent practitioners stemming from poverty. These cases that are investigated show that it's not due to parenting neglect, but rather the lack of adequate food, clothing, and or shelter they are able to provide. This typically involves parents who are forced to face a mountain of economically challenging issues. Due to the far more effort being put in foster care systems rather than to aid these families, they were faced with many different challenges, such as feeding their own kids. Individuals in these situations of ethnic or racial groups are more susceptible to poverty, face more consequences, and so, in their children and adults alike, can be led to unpredictable, undesirable outcomes in life. Having to undergo such experiences is truly heartbreaking and should be not one that we are forced to go through, or anyone in that matter. I'm not trying to say that people in the white community who face poverty should be ignored or blamed for the actions that have caused suffering among us, as it would get us nowhere. I do wish to say that if we could find a way to help these people in poverty, it should be done without issues. I say we look into the depth and nature of this poverty, we read articles and learn from different stories around us about the issues that many people face. I find that if we find the radical minorities and the disadvantages they face, it would vastly help us gain a better understanding. While I could go on, I do like to say that if we collectively know about these issues, we could probably face them better than ever before, knowing when to point them out and stop them from spreading. Now that I've discussed my main points, I will review them. Today, I discussed the probability of being in poverty, the consequences and experiences, as well as what I can ask of you. I ask you this in my stated thesis. If the Hispanic and Black communities in poverty face much more difficulties than the white community, my question for you is that if you do not face poverty, why would you want anyone else to do the same? Thank you.